All right. I guess we have no mic up here, so just you guys. But it's an interesting trip because we're we're healthy. I'm a little healthier than I was, but coming off the 3 wins, I think we got a lot to play for, and yet we're getting into this thing now where, as you saw last night, Yates wasn't supposed to play, might have been done for the year, and all of a sudden he plays, and Claude played again, and then they had another kid that became eligible, the Civic, I don't know how you say that name, but number 41, shooter that played like 16 or 18 minutes. So we're running into this situation where some of these teams have had injuries, or guys are back, or new guys are in, and so it's going to be an interesting trip. I thought Michigan played awfully well last night, and Washington was in the game for a while, and then a couple of bad stretches, and they weren't. But it's a very talented Washington team, and their big guy is Steinbeck is one of the best players in the whole league, maybe in the whole country. So they've got a lot. And yet what we have is Jeremy's playing maybe some of his best basketball. He's getting better leadership. I'm getting better leadership out of all my captains. Cohen has been one that's really stepped up. It's been fun to see Jordan and Cam get better. Those two freshmen are getting better. And I still aren't going to make any secrets that we are still a little bit struggling there with some continuity and some pieces at the 2 spot. We got an offensive piece, we got maybe a half defensive piece, but they're getting better, and we are making some progress. So it'll be a huge week for us on the road. It's with the 2 games. I won't probably see you guys until that, but in Washington, which is the best one, they brought in 13 new players, and Steinbeck, I said, is leading the league in rebounding, and he's a kid that can score it too. And Diallo was a great player last year as a freshman, just kind of coming into his own. And he's playing more of the point now that Claude has been out, although Claude played 9 minutes last night. So I don't know what to expect, but whatever we expect, they've got enough talent to go deep. They played another freshman last night who had 15 that hadn't been playing much, who's also a very good player. So the shooting comes from Peterson, who's hit 43 pointers already, and he's going to be a guy we're going to have to contend with, but it's their size inside. At 6'11", 6'11", one a tremendous athlete and strength, and the other, as I said, one of the best players. So we're going to hopefully keep our running game going. Our defense has been good. We're going to have to keep defending, but our rebounding will get challenged in Washington on Saturday for sure. Questions?
Some of these, when you look at their roster, you think they should be almost better than they are. And I'm just wondering, when you see them, where sort of the sum of the parts not coming together, what scares you about them a little bit?
Well, what scares me the most is they have had some injuries, and but definitely when you look at that roster, when you look at USC's roster, you don't sleep as well because it's a talented roster, and I think this one's very talented. Now, they've had some injuries. They're trying to put some people together. They got the Tucker kid who we recruited that was at Indiana, who's starting to play more. He was a very talented. He was a McDonald's All-American, and this, how do you say the name? Meta, the guard. God, I can't remember his name, but number 23. He's playing really well, and he was a highly ranked. Metaquip, yeah. He was a highly rated guy coming out. So they have guys that haven't even played that are rated higher than a lot of teams have on their team. So, Danny's a good coach. It's just a matter of, like everybody else says, dude, can you put the pieces together? Does the puzzle fit? And on given nights, that puzzle's going to fit because it's got talent. what you're hoping for is consistency, and that's what they're striving for right now as they get some players back.
Are you, now that you've got a few years of data, is this around the time where those teams that bring in this many transfers start to kind of figure it out a little bit more?
You know, guys, that's a really good question, and of course I'd like to give a ripping answer because that's how I feel about it. But as crazy as it's just been the last year, and this year maybe, where you're starting to hear 10 new guys, 12 new guys. I mean, there's only 12 or 13 on a team, and we've got 3 teams in our league, or 4, that have completely, taken, maybe have 1 guy back. And it's, so it's, I don't have the data on that, and I'm sure I've just got what I believe, and what I believe is it takes a while to get your team together, and the more pieces and parts of that team you have, they fit together better. But on given nights, talent can beat even togetherness or chemistry. On given nights, can it consistently do it. What do we got, class today or what? A little bit of an old student you got, but I guess I'll take him.
Tom, how much is the trip going to be? I know you mentioned going to Nike headquarters and working out LeBron's place. How much is it kind of a team building trip?
Yeah, that's kind of what these trips have been for us. Anytime you go on the road for an extended period of time, you try to steal a little team building in there for sure. And, and yet when I say we're going to Nike, I mean, we are going there. But that's where we're gonna work out. We had to work out somewhere. Why not work out at a nice place instead of an old high school gym? And then we'll get some tours and things that I think our players will really enjoy. I've been to the campus many a times, and it's an elite place. So I'm looking forward to that for myself, but for the players. And yet, it's a business trip. I mean, we got a lot of things we got to get done if we're gonna, contend for anything. And this is where, as you say, at this time of year, teams start. I either see an upswing or a downswing. Very few teams stay the same at this time of year. You're moving one direction or the other.
Is it weird still to be going to Seattle and Eugene playing Big Ten conference games for you with the conference expansions? That's still unusual for you?
Yeah. I'm sure in my limited length of career left, I'm sure it'll always be. It's just hard to believe. I was talking to Bruce Weber today, just before I came here, and he's having trouble, and he's been out of the league because he was at Kansas State, and it's just different, but it is what it is, and that's what we'll do. On a positive, we've got a lot of alums out there, and that's the advantage of being at a school like this. So you go places, and people are excited to see it because they never get to see it play. So we'll get to spend a little time with some people. I told you, I think the 49ers are staying at our hotel, or we're staying at their hotel, and one of my old, I guess you'd call him analytics guy. I'm not big into analytics, but one of my old managers that was into that with us is now with the 49ers. So we'll get to see him and some people there. That'll be fun.
It looked like you're working to get Jackson Cole reestablished on the interior. I think it looked like that was scripted early, and
Yeah.
that's part of his game. We haven't seen as much. The shooting's been really good, but you get both of those together, that could be a pretty good weapon, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I give teams credit. They've done a good job of doubling the post and try to take him away in there. But when they do that, that still leads somebody else. So his shots might go down a little bit. Somebody else's will come up. But I do want to get Jackson some touches. Thank God he's an offensive rebounder, too. He's a pretty good passer. He's done a hell of a job for us right now. And I think if we can continue to just my big concern of all my concerns is those damn turnovers, because those turnovers are leading to lack of shots for us. Now, I want to get 60-some shots up, and we've been down in the 50s, low 50s, in the last couple of games. So less turnovers and more shots. Now, we are getting to the free throw line more, which is a positive. But that also gets you less shots. So it's when you see Jackson only getting 8 shots or 6 shots, it's not always what it looks like either. It just depends what other teams do to take things away.
For Colin, the last couple games, it seems like he's had a couple mid-range shots that have kind of maybe extended it a little bit. Would you like to see him take a little bit more, maybe inside the arc, but from distance like that to stretch defenses?
Yeah, it's I'm sure to a fan it's frustrating. I'm sure to even the media it's frustrating. I mean, even to my wife it's frustrating. To his mother, I think it's even frustrating because he's worked so hard on his shooting, and if you come to practice, you see Cohen making shots, and getting a game. So it just tells you there's something in your head. There's every athlete goes through it, whether it's a shooter, I say a goalie, I say in baseball pitchers, or sometimes a batter, go through slumps. And, Cohen's never been a great shooter, and he's learned to do other things. I still wouldn't trade him for anybody because of some things he does for me and us as a team, and he's getting to be a better leader. But if he could improve and find a way to make some of those, it would be better for him and better for us. But I can look you in the eye and tell you it's not a lack of work. It's not a lack of trying. It's, he's going to have to fight through that. And confidence is something that I always say, moms always say, well, you got to give him some confidence. It's like, they think it's like giving candy or what? You don't just give somebody confidence. Here's confidence. Here's a bag of it, Confidence is usually earned, and it's something that I'm lucky that he's working at it. So he's doing what I need done. And if I was trying not to make him shoot those shots or let him, he wouldn't be shooting them. But I haven't taken that away from him because I think he's doing his part. We're going to work through this, and together, if it ever gets to the point where we're both right, it's going to be a hell of a change for us.
Along with that, I noticed that both Jordan and Kerr have had a couple, that mid-range game gets lost with three-pointers, but it seems like there's a lot of points to be had in that elbow-to-elbow area that guys are starting to kind of take it.
You know who else is doing that is Jeremy. He's starting to pull up now a little bit more. So great evaluation on your part. It is true, that used to be a Juddism that the mid-range game gets lost. It's either a dunk or a three at the end of his career. And I still think the mid-range game is lost, but the greatest of all that played the game, Michael Jordan always talks about the mid-range is maybe as important a shot as there is, And so, I'd like to get more mid-range, and I'd like to shoot a higher percentage from the mid-range. And that might be something Cohen can spend a little more time on. I say, he can back guys in. He just, it's hard when someone's playing off you. I guess your male ego gets involved in that, and it's difficult, But I give him credit. A couple games ago, he just found a way and scored 18. But mid-range is going to be an important part of our game.
Did Robin come back the other day and kind of challenge you to follow their blueprint out west in Washington?
No, I was proud of her, though. To go out west and win two, and I'm not sure how good all those teams were. I have enough trouble to figure out the men's side of it. But she's done a hell of a job and deserves a lot of credit for that. And you go on those kind of road trips, it's hard to win 2 games, no matter what sport, no matter what you're doing. Long road trips, that's long for us. Pros, it's not long, but for us, it's a long road trip. And so maybe I'll stop in and see her. Does that work like confidence? If she give me a bag of, here, Tom, here's a bag, take it out there, it'll automatically help you win 2, or I don't know, maybe not.
Crawford said that for players out a week, it'll take at least a week to come back strong. Is Devine, did he lose a little rhythm during that time off, and a little bit of work to get him back up speed?
What I say about Devine is, I'm telling you, this kid has got really good talent. He really does. He's a talented kid that can do a lot of things. He's just got to keep that motor running at warp speed and instead of in and out, And And so we're working on it. I mean, he's making progress. It's just that it's never fast enough for the coach. That'll never change. And yet he's going to get challenged now because we're going to play some bigger guards that are going to come at him, and we're going to see how he does. I think it's going to be a good challenge for him and give us a good idea on where we are, what we need to do. Thank God, I think our bigger guard, which is, if you want to call Jordan a guard, swing guy, he's playing good enough where he can play a couple positions, and he, as you notice, he's getting more minutes, and deservingly so.
Feel pretty good about, look like 6 eyes of defense, we're operating pretty good there on those turnovers that led to your run.
Yeah, I think we're getting back to, defensively, what happens is we adjust our defense according to who we're playing, It's a pretty scouting report. Some teams play the exact same way every time. I wish I was good enough to do that. I don't feel we are. And so we make some adjustments, and, you play a team like Iowa, and you're pressing out, and then you play a different team like this team doesn't shoot it as well from the three, and all of a sudden they add 2 new guys that hadn't played. One is the forward, the 6'8" guy, and how do you say his name? Ovasevich. Number 41, as I say, in UP, it's better. But, so they could, but our gap defense is the key to us because this is a very good rebounding team, so our rebounding will be challenged. And, we've been a good rebounding team, but it's for different reasons than people think, because we don't extend our defense. People don't penetrate. If they don't penetrate, you don't have mismatches and people helping out, and then they have freedom to go get a rebound. So if we can keep it that way and keep people in front of us, I think then the rebounding in our running game would really help.
I want to ask one more thing on Kirk. You talked about his shooting, and we can see that, and that goes, and the shot he hit on the break the other night was one of the best threes he's had. But I'm wondering the rest of his game, like where you are in evaluating that, everything else you said.
Well, Kohler and Kerr are my 2 hardest working guys as far as living in the gym, so I get mesmerized by that, but there's still skill level of things you have to do. He's got to get better with the ball, he's got to get better passing the ball, and he's got to get a little better defending the ball. And that's not abnormal. I say in America, great shooters, if you look at all the great shooters, there's very few that play both ends of the court. And we need him to be good on the offensive end and adequate on the defensive end. And we don't need him to overhandle the ball, but we need him to be adequate where he's not turning it over. So I'd say those areas he's working on, but's got some growth to go yet to get where we need him to get.
Because I noticed that one of the things he does is he hustles for boards and hustles for
Yeah.
loose balls.
Oh, he's a great
Does
kid.
that eventually, in the growth of maturation of a player, translate to a better defender later on?
I think it will because he's a hard worker. Now, he's not a great athlete, and sometimes, that hurts you a little bit, but his work ethic is going to make him, we forget really, we all but redshirted him last year. He didn't play much, and so he's in his first year of playing a lot, and if I look at it that way, I still say he's making progress, and what I said about Cohen, what I say about him is they're living in the gym working it, and I believe in my heart that guys that do that eventually are going to come around and get better in the areas they're not as good at. And he's working at that, and that's all I can ask for.
Well, one thing the younger freshmen say is that he's kind of become, in some ways, a leader of that. Like they see leadership capabilities for guys really playing in their first year. I don't know if you see that yet, or if it's just something maybe a little behind the scenes with those 3, with him and Jordan and Cam. He's kind of rallying them a little bit.
Who's rallying him? Kerr is a very good. He doesn't speak a lot. That's That's the one problem I had. And that's why I hate Twitter, you know, because the guys don't learn how to speak; they just learn how to type. And I'm not kidding about that. We have a serious problem with Trey, Kerr, and Divine as far as communicating. And in basketball, you got to be able to communicate, especially if defensively you're switching and you're doing different things. Kerr is probably the best of the bunch, but what Kerr has done for those young guys is a little bit like Coop and Jackson have done for Jesse and Cam, is they kind of lead by example, which I'm not a total fan of. I'd rather a guy grab a guy and bring him in, you know. But when they see a guy working as hard, and Kerr works hard, and that makes Jordan work harder, I think. And so, yeah, I guess in a roundabout way, I just wish I could get it in a little bit more verbal way, but we'll keep working on that too.
Anything else, guys?
Coach, is there any silver lining with long road trips like this for your team?
Silver lining. You know, I don't know. I mean, I haven't done enough of them to really, you know, last year we were 0-2, and somebody asked me, what would you like to do different than last year? Or what are you going to do different on this road trip? I'm trying to win 2 games. You know, I didn't do that last year. But I think the silver lining, there's always some camaraderie. There's always some team building that you can do. There's always some adversity. You got to learn how to deal with that. I think that's going to help you later on. In some ways, you could get more rest if you find a way to do that. You know, if you can sleep on a plane, if you can, you know, some ways you can get more rest. It's going to be weird, though, too, because we're flying in. Last year, we were right in L.A. for both of them. And then we're busing down, and then we're busing a little longer down to Oregon. And so that'll be different. But I think it's all going to be good, you know. It's make it what you got to make it of. And I think our guys are excited to go. You know, the killer is coming back and getting in at 6, 7 in the morning on Wednesday morning and then trying to play Saturday. That's the biggest worry I have. If you want the truth, it's not how it goes out there. It's what happens when you come back. But we'll worry about that when we get here. So it'll be good. I think the silver lining is you get to be with your guys. Everybody's together. Go out to eat. You do some things together and can have meetings and film sessions that in the hotel. And yeah, I think it'll be good. They'll be sick of me. I'll be sick of them. It'll be a hell of a deal.
Say the other side of that, you have, 7 a week after the Oregon game, you gotta go to the other coast, which is like
Yeah.
rough.
You know, it's hard for me to complain as a Midwest team when those West Coast teams got it worse than we do. You know, I think it was Oregon just played at Maryland or something, then went home and then played Ohio State a couple days later, you know. So I'm not, I'm getting better. I'm not going to complain about the NCAA as much. I did a better job of that. You guys got me going a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but decent on that. About the transfer portal and all that, I'm not going to complain about the schedule because it's kind of tough for everybody. This is a unique deal, but I mean, I saw last night North Carolina played at Stanford. That's a little bit of a jaunt, and Duke played at Cal, and now they got to do the same thing, vice versa, and then they fly back and play somebody. So it is what you get used to, or it is what you accept, and my guys are going to have to learn to accept this is the way it is. Everybody's going to go through it at some point, and you just hope to catch things at the right time, you know. But we're coming off a good 3-game stretch. We'll have a good practice here in a few minutes, and then we'll take off today. We're going to actually go into the arena tonight and just get a sweat up. And then tomorrow we go at 1, and then maybe tomorrow night. And game day, since it's a 3 o'clock game, we probably won't shoot that day, but that'll be a good day to rest and play the game and then move on. So it's all good. It's all good, and hopefully we'll make it even better. Anything else?
I'm just wondering, mid-season, about the evaluation of Jesse,
how he's grown? I know the other night wasn't a night
Yeah.
for him, but.
Listen, we're in love with Jesse. I mean, he's the one guy that talks. You know, in fact, it was funny. Doug Wojcik and I saw him down at, outside of Toledo there. What was the, Cedar Point. He was in a tournament down there. And he was a sophomore, and we were watching somebody else, and this kid just kept talking and talking and talking. And getting a 6'10" guy to talk is an act of, you know, it doesn't happen to start with. And then he was doing it as a young guy, and we said right then, we're going to keep an eye on this kid. That we started recruiting him because he communicated really well. He still does an unbelievable job. He's shooting it well. He's getting stronger. There's going to be certain games and matchups. Now, this won't be one of them because they're big. So he'll play more in this game. But I'm really pleased with the progress Jesse's made. It was a smart move what we did to redshirt him because he wasn't ready. So I think this has been a win-win for him, for us, for everybody.
Very good? Good.
Thanks, guys.